What do you think that really sets apart indie games from AAA titles? What's the major difference between the two?
The obvious part is saying something like the heart and soul a developer puts into it. But for me, it's the time frame. So you have a limited time to develop, and so you have a limited time of content you can put into the game. And you have to choose wisely what you have to put into the game.
Yes.
It's more of a precise gaming experience, and they have always some cool mechanic no one else thought about before them.
AAA is usually going to go for something safer that knows been working for a long time.
But in my experience, that is already different between hobbyist indie game devs and full-time indie game dev.
Meaning?
If you have to live from the earnings of your games, you have to deliver, let's say, every 6 months.
Yeah.
And every game has to earn an amount of X dollar can survive over the year. And if you have a job besides your indie gaming, you don't need to have a successful game, and you can play way more around with features and even time frames.
So as you gain more and more success as a developer, that kind of freedom does have a tendency of naturally going away a little bit, because you do have to make money. You have to finish a product and you need to commercialize it. So that's interesting. And what inspired you to become an indie game developer to begin with?
Many years ago, a game called Graal Online, and it's a Zelda-like MMORPG with a very strong level editor. That was the start where I made levels, played with friends, and then I forgot game dev for many years. And in my 30s, I started studying IT economics, maybe.
Okay, sure.
And more randomly, I found a freelancing job to make a card game in Xamarin.
Card game?
A card game for the university for machine learning courses. And during that development, I recognized that I want to make more.
And what kind of programs are you using now to code your game?
Unity, that's the big one. Yeah. Sprite for my pixel art. For Schachkampf, I bought all the music, but for smaller games, I make it myself with Bosca COE. It's a small program for bit music. Adobe Color Wheel. You enter one color and get a palette of 10 colors.
All right, so I'd like you to talk to us a little bit about your creative process of creating a game.
I always start with some kind of brainstorming. It's sometimes good, like cover ducking, to talk to someone else. If he's a game dev or not, doesn't matter, but you have to ping pong your ideas. Then if I want to make a bigger game, there's some kind of research phase. For example, for Schachkampf, I downloaded about 10 chess games and looked what I like, what I don't like about them, wrote that down too, make lists what I want to implement, what I want to change, and to differentiate from those games. After my research or my mind map phase, I do something that's called the Moscow method. It takes the word Moscow without the O's. So you have MSCW for must have, should have, could have, and won't have.
Okay.
I make those 4 columns in my Trello board. I do it everywhere, but for me it's Trello. And I put all the things I have in my mind map in one of those 4 columns. Right. The must-have phase is for the MVP. When that is done, I have a finished game, which I could give you, for example, and you could play it. It wouldn't be much fun. There's no polishing, no music, no sound effects, but the core game loop would stand. And the should-have phase are things like sound effects, music, animations, maybe a main menu or level screen or something like that. When this is finished, you have a good product. It's a playable game which makes fun playing in best case. Could have phase are all the things like an online high score, for example, or if you have a time trial game, maybe a ghost. It's not necessary to race against a ghost, but the ghost is pretty cool. If I have the time to implement it, it makes the game way better than before. And, won't have, obviously, everything which sounded good in the beginning, but not in the end, or things which are just too big to implement. Yeah. And after that, I take those things I have in the columns and split them into smaller tasks. For me, it's always good if a task is solvable in about 1 or 2 hours, because that's the time I have to sit down at my PC.
You know, there's some psychology that goes behind that as well. Where it
it's
kind of
like,
creates a little
writing.
bit of dopamine whenever that you go ahead and say, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, that's the main reason.
Yeah.
That's the main reason. Give myself some dopamine.
So you're starting a new project. What's number one that you can't lose sight on?
Definitely scope. I overscoped with my current game. I thought I am already good at scoping, but I wanted to finish the game on just before Christmas.
Okay.
Now we have March, and I think I need 3 more months.
Yes.
So a lot of experienced game devs or developers at all say you have to fail fast. When you have an idea, you have to test it out fast, and if it is just trash, you have to fail fast, grab the idea, make a new one.
Yeah.
That's what
Fail
where
fast.
game jams are perfectly for.
You did a lot of game jams. What we're doing is we're doing mini games, we're doing mini projects, and we're giving ourselves like really tight deadlines of maybe 3 months or something like that to try to go ahead and do a concept and finish it. Whether or not we're happy with it in 3 months, it has to be finished. To start an idea, work the idea, finish an idea within a certain time constraint. And,
I've read a similar approach, like you give different borders to yourself. You make a game in 24 hours, a game in 48 hours, a game in a week, a game in a month, a game in 3 months, and start all over again with like 24, 48, and so on.
Okay, yeah. That's
So
not
you
a bad
get a
approach.
good feeling for scoping and what can you accomplish in which time frame. I didn't try it myself this way, but a lot of people I know swear that this is a good approach.
And what's the most common challenge you encounter during development whenever you're making a game, and what do you usually do to overcome it?
One big problem is hating my own game. It's not such a big problem in small scoped projects, but like I said, I work for over a year on the game, and it's always up and downs. Sometimes I think it's the best game ever, and there are weeks where I want just to delete the whole game and don't want to work on it anymore.
And I think that's a very normal feeling. A lot of people go through those emotions up and down whenever you're working on it, and we all tend to be hypercritical of our own work. We want it great, and we know where things are bad, and we hyper focus on it. And it's a good thing in a way, but a lot of times, a lot of people will never even notice the things that are bothering us. What do you say is the most rewarding process or aspect of doing this?
Every first time. So the first finished game was great, playing with friends. First successful social media post was great, getting good feedback on a game. Remember the first time I posted my current game on Reddit and got like over 100 replies with feedback, and people said how they like the game.
Great, yeah.
It's really rewarding. And then things like the first blog post, now the first interview.
Yes.
Every first time is very interesting.
I can definitely relate to that of the first mini game that we did, which was a tower defense game. And I still remember the first time that I had a little animation. It's a little animal that's going down the path. And whenever it actually walked down the path, I like, whoa, that's amazing. I got my girlfriend, come see, it's working. Yes, all these little moments, mini victories. Eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Have any advice on how to stay motivated?
Unpopular opinion, it's not about motivation, it's about discipline. You have to keep going when you're unmotivated.
Yes, I find that it helps a lot to just do a little bit every day. Even if you like it, if you just do like 10 minutes, it's still 10 minutes. So if at the end of the week, say you would have never worked on it and you just did 10 minutes every day, you at least get an hour's development.
Especially in the beginning.
Especially in the beginning. Get in that routine of always doing a little bit of something and have the discipline of being consistent. I really like that you brought that up.
I can really recommend the Atomic Habits. I don't know if you know it.
Yeah.
It's exactly about the theme. It's better to do really small steps instead of doing nothing.
So
in the end, you have a habit.
That's awesome that you brought that up. It goes a long way. It's unbelievable just how much doing a little bit every day over long term is going to have a huge compounding effect, right?
Yeah.
And finally, can you tell us a little bit about your fantasy chess game that you're making? Some highlights about it or some upcoming features. I think you've mentioned that you might be releasing it officially in about 3 months.
Yeah, and I've already demo out today, and in 3 months I will officially release it on Steam. Till now, it's just about chess puzzles, and I will re-add local multiplayer and online multiplayer. But these are features I think are very important to a chess game.
Yes, for sure.
I just finished a beta tutorial, worked on that too the last days. When the game is released on Steam, I will add an Android version on Play Store.
Well, that'd be great. Okay, well, thank you again for your time. It was really great talking with you. You have some really good insight.
I had a lot of fun too.
Yes, okay, thanks.
It was an honor.
Take care.